Hello and welcome to the V2 Football Podcast. I'm Chris Lappin and I'm with Nick Davey, and we're delighted to be joined on the line by Millwall Lioness midfielder Lily Agg. How are you doing today, Lily?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm brilliant, thank you. So, are you planning to watch the cup final today?
I might be eventually. I'm off to it's my friend's 21st, so
Yeah.
I'm off to London to a bit of food and that shortly. So we might get to watch it in a pub or somewhere.
Do you have a prediction on who's going to win?
I like an underdog, but I do think Arsenal will have it today.
Yeah, I can't see anything different. So if we start at the beginning, how did you first get involved in the game?
I started playing when I was about 5 or 6, I think. My mum, I don't know, says I should have been a boy, really. I think she gave me Barbies and, dolls, and I wasn't really interested, and I would rather, play with Lego and a ball, and I think it started from there, really.
Yeah, I read that you started in the Arsenal youth team. How did you get spotted?
I was at Brighton until under 16s with playing for the ladies team, and then went to the academy for trials. I went to both actually Chelsea and Arsenal, and I got into both luckily, and then it was a decision to make, and I ended up going to Arsenal and was there for a few years.
Oh, brilliant. I'm going to pass you over to Nick, who's got a couple of questions about your career, and then we'll come back for some listeners' questions.
Yeah, hi. Just thought I'd quickly ask you a few questions about your career. Starting off, obviously, with Brighton, being a big Brighton fan that I am. So when you're at Brighton, how sort of involved were the male side of things, with like the first team manager for the males come over and sort of keep an eye on how the women are doing, with the players sort of taking an eye, or was it just completely and utterly divided and the males wouldn't really know who the women
At Brighton or Arsenal?
Well, yeah, I suppose mainly at Brighton.
At Brighton, when I was there, it was quite separated. To be fair, we train in the evenings, and the men obviously train all in the day. And we got to use the facilities near the university and that. But now it's changed obviously quite a lot. So the new training facility at Lancing, the first team is separated in terms of how it's laid out, but the women's team is very much included in financial plans that they do and how they train. So they, use all the top of the range facilities that the men do. They are treated very much similar to the men, minus money.
Yeah, no, sure. Well, I remember when I spoke to a couple of women players once on a train home from a game, they were sort of saying that apparently you have to train like Friday nights and Saturday nights, then play on Sunday. So it really does take over your life in quite an unsociable way. Sort of, do you find that sort of with females that a lot of them drop out of the game because they just can't handle it, and they just sort of like, have a social life, let's speak.
I think it was. I think it's changed again now. So I don't think they are no longer training on a Friday. But I think it got to a point where they were trying to very much push for Super League status. So the manager at the time said, actually, if we want this, we're going to have to work hard. And it was a case of training that extra night on a Friday. Sacrificing going out and to train. So I do understand, it's a hard decision, and if you want to be the best, you have got to put in that work and sacrifice some things. But I think it was a case of the fact that they're not, getting the money for it or whatever else. They did kind of put a few off. So I think that, that does happen, and it does have a detrimental effect sometimes.
You mentioned obviously Brighton pushing for Super League status. Was that sort of one of the reasons why you decided to quit Brighton and join Mill? With Brighton just sort of obviously not really, Mill just obviously a much better club, and you could really develop your own career by joining Mill?
I think it's very difficult. So for me at the minute in time, I'm at university and I'm doing PE teaching. So as much as I want to push myself and eventually even go higher than Millwall and WSL1 and see where I can push myself, it's very difficult in terms of trying to manage work, uni and travelling where you're at. And Brighton is very convenient to me and is my local club. And it's improved massively since when I was there. And it was a hard decision, to leave Brighton. But at the time, I felt, I needed to push myself a bit higher and maintain, obviously, doing my PE and things. And Millwall is, the nearest club to me in Super League 2. So it's just about manageable in terms of travelling up 3 times a week and doing my PE teaching and work on top of that. So the fact that I can play at that level and maintain it just seems to make sense rather than, you know, playing a league below at Brighton, you know. So it was just trying to push myself to get
I know you're
up to that high level.
Yeah, no, so I know you're very, you're quite a well-known women's player. I mean, obviously not to sound disrespectful at all, being a big Brighton fan, obviously I don't really follow women's football a great deal, but I think sort of in the last few years, I personally really have started to follow it, and I think the whole nation really has. Everyone's really sort of enjoying women's football a bit more. Does that sort of really motivate you even more to play, knowing that the nation's really enjoying women's football a bit more? Because obviously there was a sellout at Wembley, wasn't there? Only a few months ago.
Definitely. I think women's football, you know, there's definitely a market for that, and I think that's shown by how much it has moved on over, you know, the last few years. And, you know, I think the difference is always going to be there in comparison to men and strength and pace of the game. And, you know, I understand that, but I think more people are realising that actually, you know, we still work very hard. We actually are technically able, you know, as well as the men. And it is actually still as exciting. So I think with the, you know, advertising that does happen, and I think that's been shown, for example, at the Olympics, you know, 70,000 was sold out because it got advertised, and people do want to watch that. So I think more and more of it being advertised, it's going to happen. You know, the Women's World Cup is coming up in the next month, and, you know, they had a friendly last night against Canada, and, you know, there was 23,000 people at that game. So, and that was barely, you know, hardly anyone knew about that. So it does show that if it does get publicised and advertised, you know, people will go, and there is a market for it.
Yeah, no, it's really good to hear, and as I say, I just hope that we can all really get behind the women's football. Cause and to be fair, there's a lot of very good women footballers out there, like yourself, for instance. And as I say, I mean, I was watching a few Brighton highlights last season on Seagulls player and stuff like that, and we scored probably the goal. I think Charlotte Owen scored away at Gillingham. I think it was. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But it was probably one better than any of the senior players scored, and it just seems to me that women actually generally do really, really try a lot harder than, say, the men. They just really actually want to play, because not for all the money or anything like that. They just really do, because they love football so much. Really, the ones who really do stick with the game, like we had discussed earlier, with obviously sacrificing going out on the weekends and stuff. So it's really about who really does love football a lot, and it's really good to see.
Yeah, definitely. I think you know, it's very difficult for women players. You know, we're not doing it for the money. Like I said to you, I should have been a boy almost. You know, I've loved football from you know, from a very young age, and I think that's never going to go from me. I can't help that. I wake up and I want to kick a ball. You know, so that does show in, I think, the way we play, and I think that's for most girls. You know, speaking, they work very hard in terms of. I'm not saying the men don't, but it's a lifestyle, and, you know, the money is beneficial, and some, you know, like you see often people happy to sit on a bench, for example, to get their wage. You know, we all want to play week in, week out. We want to train as much as we can. You know, so it would be, you know, great if we could train every day, but we don't even have that, you know, privilege. So it is very difficult, but it is growing, and I think, you know, people will see, like you said, about the goals and things like that. We are technically, you know, just as able, in my opinion, as men, and I think some goals that have been seen, you know, whether it's on Instagram or Twitter videos or whatever, you know, people do see that we are just capable, like I say.
Well, I really do need to get myself down to watch a women's game and just sort of enjoy it. It's free entry on a Sunday, and I think Brighton do, so it's worth giving it a go. Because I remember once I went to watch, I think Lewis were playing Essex United in a friendly. Obviously, admittedly, the main attraction to go was to watch Joey Essex and Mark Wright play football. However, before that, they were doing a free women's game, Lewis Ladies against Southampton Ladies. And to be fair, it was I think Lewis Ladies won 6-0, and they played absolutely outstanding. And I think both teams played really well. I mean, Lewis Paul like Southampton, because they were a very good team. But there was not, like you see in men's football here, and then there was no pinging it long or anything like that. It was just everyone seemed to really want to pass the ball very well and just play really lovely football, and getting on with the game, no one would shout back at the referee. So it really does it really is good to watch, sort of thing. And that there's just none of that which we hope to see in men's football. But
yeah, there is a different I think there's difference in football, and I think when people actually come and watch the games live, you know, they might think girls and it's not physical, it's not competitive, you know. I beg to differ. Come and watch Millwall, for example. You know, we are just as capable to put in a tackle, and, you know, we will work just as hard, and the skill still will be shown. You know, it is entertaining to watch, and you know, for a fraction of what you pay to watch a men's game, more and more people I think are seeing that it is, you know, enjoyable to watch, and actually very good quality of football is on show.
Yeah, that was going to be my next jokey question. When you obviously playing for Millwall, what's the fan base like there for one's game? Is it sort of like you get the intimidating atmosphere like you do for the Mill games? Like loads of women rock up, sort of supporting the Lionesses, doing the Mill chant.
I think it's difficult because, like I say, you know, our games aren't really publicised and out there, and I think you've got your die-hard, you know, women's football fans that, you know, love the game and make trips wherever it is and know all about it, and then there's others that might turn up to a game because, oh, actually the men didn't play that week and it's cheap and it's a bit, you know, it does depend, but the fan base is good when it's out there, and that is the difficult thing about it. Most of our games aren't, you know, nobody knows when they are or where they are, and so therefore you don't get the fans that you probably should. You get a lot of support, for example, on Twitter and whatever else, but sometimes, you know, they're not actually able to be at the game.
Yeah, I think that's all of the questions I'm really going to answer. Well, apart from I'd love to see you rejoin Brighton, but obviously I understand you've probably got to stay at Mill for next season. Is Naomi Cole still at Mill?
She is. She is indeed.
She's played. Obviously, she used to play for Lewis, and there's still a shirt. I mean, Lewis is my local team. My sons go down and watch them, and there's a big shirt of Cole playing for England up in the pub in the social club in the ground. She's a bit of a Lewis legend down there. Is she?
She is. She's a Lewis
playing for England.
I think she's still involved in the 23s and things like that. Her name's always on the cards and stuff like that. So it's very difficult with England and 23s. And they pick odd selection. It sometimes if she stays fit and if it doesn't, etc. But May's been playing well, so hopefully, you know, she can get back into the team.
Well, that's going to be my final question. Do you see yourself having any international aspirations, or do you really think you can do it next season when it gets underway?
Yeah, like I said, it's very difficult with football. You know, I've played at international level in terms of under 15s, under 17s, under 19s, been involved in camps and things, and the next age bracket for me now, being, you know, just 21, is now the under 23s, and it's very difficult in terms of how you get picked because, you know, they have people that come through the ranks, and, you know, you do get your favourites and you do get your who they want, you know, to be at the camps, but all you can do is, you know, keep playing football, hopefully keep your name coming up on Twitter and wherever else, you know, saying you've had a good game and you played well, work hard, and, you know, in my opinion, I'd like to think, you know, I would, you know, be involved potentially in camps upcoming future if I keep playing well or whatever, so we'll see, you never know.
Well, yeah, no, I do obviously, I follow you on Twitter and you do get a lot of support on Matched on Sundays and stuff. People actually really sort of saying you played really well today, and obviously playing, you should get an England call up. That's really good to see. But I think that's all my questions done for now. I'll pass you back to Chris, but just good luck for next season.
Thanks very much.
Well, if
Thank you.
we kind of keep with the international theme. The World Cup is next. Does it start next week?
Hello.
Hiya. Hi. If we stick with the international theme, the World Cup's approaching. An experienced England squad's been named. Is there a buzz that England will do well?
I think they will, to be honest. They've prepped well. You know, they've had a bit of a fresh shake-up with Mark Hansen going in, and you know, he's picked his squad on what he feels, you know, is the strongest squad and that he feels can compete at the World Cup. And you know, they're a good bunch of girls and they all work ever so hard. So I'm pretty sure if they continue that attitude, they will do well.
Yeah, very experienced squad names. I think it was averaged over 50 caps. Ladies. Were you surprised that Redham striker Fran Kirby got included? With her
no, I wasn't surprised, to be honest. She thoroughly deserves it. After, you know, I've played against her now a fair few times, and she is a fantastic player. And you get a lot all the time. Oh, she's young, she's playing Super League 2s, but I think the girls that are playing with her now at senior level can see that she's great, and I think that's shown in her debuts and performances for England senior level, you know, where she has had player of the matches and she's been the star of the show. So, you know, it was thoroughly deserved, in my opinion, for her to be included.
I've had a couple of listener questions in. Martin Whiteley asks, as a lot of clubs are now looking to make their ladies' side more prominent in the organisation, have you seen recent significant changes in the further development of the ladies' team at Millwall?
Yeah, I think there have been. So, you know, in terms of Brighton's league, for example, the Premier League, there's now been that competition element. So the winners of that league in the Northern Prem, you know, they combine and they have the potential to go into the Super League, which was a massive boost for everyone this year. And it was, you know, it proved made the league, you know, 10 times better because there was such a fight to the last day on who was in that position. So that's continuing to develop. You've got WSL 2 that's developing. WSL 1 is progressing even further. It is all going in the right direction. I think it just needs that bit more publicising, like I said, and a bit more funding, and then I think it'll get there.
Okay, and Ash Calver asks, I have a daughter who would love to get into the game. What's the best advice you would give to a young female player?
Best advice is to literally just keep playing as much as you can. You know, I played with a boys' team up until under 12, and for me, I think that was probably one of the best things I could have done at that age, because I think it did help me and progress me massively. And you know, you've just got to keep focused. I think there's such a fine line between, you know, the levels of football, whether it's Super League 1 or the Premier League or WSL 2, etc. So it's a case of staying focused, keeping your goal, and just working hard. Like, I think that is the main point to emphasise. I think it's the same with the men's game. You see the ones that do that little bit extra. Yeah. You can see, and it shows in their season. So just keep working hard, and you'll get the rewards.
Okay, and before we go, do you want to plug your social media, your Twitter and?
My Twitter is Lily Agg 24.
Well, thank you for joining us today, and good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'd love to have you on again in the future. So.
Yeah, no worries.